Okay. Hi, and welcome to the meditation conversation. I'm your host, Kara Goodwin, and I'm so excited today to be joined by award-winning singer and songwriter Anita Lerche. And we were just talking about how to pronounce that, and I'm doing my best, but Lerche. Okay. Anita is originally from Denmark, and she's now living in the US with her heart firmly planted in the music and culture of Punjab in India. She's the first non-Asian woman from the West to sing and release a solo album in Punjabi. So she's been touring the world and receiving numerous awards and honors, and she has a recent album release, Love Is My Religion, and it just received a Global Music Awards silver medal for Best Female Vocal. So welcome, Anita. I'm so glad that you're here today.
Thank you so much, Kara. I've been looking so much forward to speaking with you.
Oh, me too. And I can't wait to discuss your new album. It's truly so beautiful. It's really, I mean, the vocals and the messaging, it's really uplifting. But before we get to that, I would love to talk about this rich journey that you have that has, your music career goes back to really when you were a child, and you've had so many different iterations of callings musically, really. And, but you have a fascinating story about how you became so integrated in the Punjabi music scene. So, would you like to tell us about and just share a bit about your journey?
I would love that. Yes. So it all started that professionally, I had my formal education into musical theater. So I was singing, dancing, acting, and performing at the theaters. And I just released my first solo album, I Love a Piano, with pop and musical ballads. And at that time, I felt like I never really took a vacation. So I ended up, I had been meditating for quite some years in Denmark with a Gunnar Mühlmann, and he had been traveling to India for many, many years. And actually, for 5 years at that time, he had been asking me every year, Anita, are you coming with us trekking in the Himalayas, hiking? And I was like, I'm busy with my singing career. So I always wanted, but said no. So at that time, I was 31, and I thought, okay, it's time to allow myself to do something that has got nothing to do with my singing career. So I went to India with a group of Danish people in 2005. And here I was for the first time. I didn't bring makeup. I didn't bring any high heels or a mirror. I was just first time with a backpack, and I was going to go to the Himalayas. And I swore I was not going to tell anybody I'm a singer, because I just wanted to immerse myself into the feeling of exploring and not having a big high goal. And of course, everything happened that I did not expect. First thing was, I just felt home when I arrived in India. It was a very strange feeling. I'd always loved Indian food, but there I saw myself just feeling home. And when we were trekking in the Himalayas, I was lying on this huge rock, and these notes just came out of me. And I remember that I sang, it feels like beginning a whole new life. The water is clearing my heart and my eyes. And that was what happened. I was sitting around the campfire a week later, and the local people, the tribal people, they were singing from morning to evening. And they didn't, like me, I had been working so much on my technique, and these guys, they just sang from their heart, and they inspired me, and I started joining them. My friend from Denmark, Gunnar Mühlmann, he said, why don't you record a couple of songs with the tribal people? So that's how it started. I learned a couple of songs in the Kula dialect, Himachali language. And we were invited to Punjab. Actually, the whole group was going to Taj Mahal. And I was like, I don't want to see monuments. I came to explore the culture of India, and the people of India. So I was invited to Punjab. While they were going to Taj Mahal, I went to Punjab. And on that journey, I heard Punjabi music for the first time. And that was when I totally fell in love with this music. And I had this vision that I should record some music like this. And I just sat there dancing in the bus, like for myself, and daydreamed about recording this kind of music that I had no idea what was. It just felt so, it was talking to me, speaking to my heart.
Oh, wow.
And so I recorded these couple of songs in Punjab, and I thought I was going to go home because I had shows lined up in Denmark. And then some people had heard me in the studio, and they were like, oh, this Gauri, this white girl, she learned to sing in Punjabi and no, in Himachali in a couple of days. Maybe she can learn to sing in Punjabi. So they offered me a record contract. And at that time, okay, I just had that vision. So I decided to stay back in Punjab just to meet the producer and just to see what this was. And within a week, I signed the contract and I stayed back in Punjab and started learning to sing in Punjabi. So that was the crazy way that this adventure into Punjabi music happened. Totally
Wow.
unexpected.
That's fascinating. And so what I love is you're talking about, hearing the music and how much it went beyond the language barrier, right to your soul, right to your heart. So then in order to sing in Punjabi, you have to, you've got the language barrier. I know that you had recorded in some like 16 languages or something already to that point, correct?
I had been singing in 13 different languages. I ended up counting that number when I had an interview, and I hadn't even realized that was just my career that
Yeah.
gave me these challenges, and I love challenges, so I just said yes. But with Punjabi, you're right, that was a huge challenge because the pronunciation was so different than any other language I had ever been singing in. So I had really to work very hard with my Anurag Sood from Husharpur in Punjab. I stayed with his family, and he taught me the meaning, the pronunciations of the words, and it was like maybe doing like a university degree or something in very
Wow.
intense. So
That's what I imagine. Yeah.
I dived deep into it, and I made up my own phonetic system for Punjabi because they have got some different sounds like r and t and the, and some things that sounds I had never heard before. So I had worked a lot with phonetics, but these sounds I didn't have a sign for that. So I had to
Yeah.
develop things like that. And when I then released the album the year after, I just had no idea that there was no other white woman or non-Asian woman singing in Punjabi. So it gave me a very unexpected break in my career.
Yeah.
I mean, from that time, I immersed myself into the Punjabi music and culture because it just spoke so deeply to me, as if I felt this belonging, and my soul, I just felt so connected and still do.
Well, I mean, again, just coming back to the language, it's remarkable because for it to have been so difficult for you from a language perspective, but then to have been able to transmit something that touched so many people because it really took off. So it was like I think, I mean, I lived in Italy for several years and I never really got totally comfortable with my language skills. So I really appreciate like the ability or the dedication to be able to communicate effectively, but then in an artful way that really does cut through the language to something really much deeper is really commendable, and really speaks to the power of music as well, and energy, because I'm not sure like how much connection you had to the words themselves rather than like the feeling behind the words that you're transmitting, if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. And the words, yes, they were all new to me, but I learned like the literal meaning of every word and the overall meaning. And so I could really, attach that emotion and go deep into those emotions. Plus, I lived in Punjab for so long time, so I could really feel how those words, there's so many. It talks about the clothing you're wearing, the food that you're speaking, so many cultural references where you really have to live there to really understand them on a very deep level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yes, music, I always say that music is the language of the heart. It has got no barrier, and it can really connect people across cultures, religions, borders. There's no boundaries, and that's what I love about music, because I've always felt that we all people with a heart. I don't see all these divisions that people talk about all the time. I don't need to divide people.
Mm-hmm.
I always just see people and feel them as people.
Yeah.
I love learning from people's different backgrounds, their cultures, their languages, their music, and the music especially that really always reflects the culture of a people. So there's so much to get inspiration from when we meet something which is different from what how we were raised and what we've experienced in life. So
Right. Yeah. And India in particular, I mean, is such a deeply spiritual place as well. So, um, from that perspective, like thinking about the culture, I haven't had the blessing to go to India yet, but I mean, I've studied a lot about it, and, but it seems that will only benefit an artist to be immersed in, and especially an artist such as yourself, who is like really wanting to bring love and unity forth through your art. It's like, what a beautiful launching point for that development. I mean, it's what we all need for sure, in
I mean,
abundance right now.
I would say, Kara, it's you might we say like, oh, it's so spiritual and all that, and it's true, but it's also extremely it puts you on I put me into a big challenge, because you cannot really control things the way that you can in your own environment. There's things has got its own sweet time, and you really have to, you're forced to living in the moment in India. And there's so much noise, there's so much craziness. So I would say, to keep my sanity and I've never experienced myself getting like so into my emotions like I was, like, oh, getting all the feeling upset and all that. But then with the yoga, that was really what kept me sane.
Oh,
So
I bet.
every morning
Yeah.
I had to do my yoga, and I really dig deep into learning about yoga when I lived there. And with that basic, like meditation, when you've got that basic, then you can face any challenge that you meet and just take the best out of it. So that gave me that grounding that I feel is very needed in India. There's
Yeah.
so much beauty, but also this craziness that I love. It's so colorful, and everybody has to experience it. It's
Yeah.
just amazing.
And you lived there, did you live there for 10 years?
Over a period of 10 years, I lived there maybe 5 months a year in total. So I
Okay.
traveled back and forth every year. And I lived there most of the time. I was touring a lot, and I was in Denmark some of the time, and then touring, and then living in India, recording my music videos, my music. And so just,
Yeah.
yeah, living with local families, and they treated me like their own daughter. That hospitality that you'll experience in India, that is something which is stunning, and it's
Yeah.
breathtaking. I've never experienced anything like it.
Right. Oh, I have heard this, and one of my closest friends from college is of Indian descent. Her family is Gujarati, and so I remember when she got married, and you know, being a part of that wedding, and family coming in from all over, and they were hosting everybody, and it was like days long, and all the meals. It was beautiful, but the hospitality is like way beyond anything that I've experienced here,
Yeah,
for
I got
sure.
married in Punjab as well
Oh,
with
did
with
you?
my Danish childhood sweetheart. So we had a
Oh,
5-day wedding also with 2 elephants and
oh my
500
gosh.
people, and it
Wow.
was so crazy
Yeah.
and amazing.
They
Just
love to
a dream
celebrate
come
for
true.
sure. Yeah, that is so beautiful. So so your career also, before all of this happened, you had a lot of you were living in London for part of it, doing theater in London. You you were on the Danish version of Eurovision,
Yeah.
which I was like, what? I didn't know that. That's a big deal in Europe. I don't know. Did you see Will Ferrell's Eurovision movie on Netflix?
I've not seen it.
You
No,
not?
I've
Oh my
not.
gosh, do you have Netflix?
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
Okay.
Is he Icelandic, I think? But you know, Eurovision doesn't really get its due here in America, but it's such a phenomenon in Europe. And
Absolutely. It's the highlight, the biggest singing competition you can get. Or you,
yeah.
at least it used to be. It used to be the biggest and the only way you can really.
Yeah, and a huge celebration, you know, on the continent and throughout. I mean, it. I've been a part of some really crazy Eurovision parties when I lived in
Yeah.
England, where we were, you know,
Yeah.
that was the whole point of the party, was to watch Eurovision and cheer on your, you know, pick your country and cheer them on. It's so fun.
Yeah, I
But
know.
and then you did Danish dubbing for the Toy Story sequels and for Barbie, and which I can totally hear when I'm listening to your music. I'm like, oh my God, she'd be perfect for that. You have such an angelic voice. But but that's really cool too. And so now you have your latest release, your latest album called Love Is My Religion, and you wrote all the songs and lyrics yourself. And I was interested to hear when you were talking about how the music came to you. Do you want to talk a little bit about
Yeah.
how this creation came to be?
So my whole life I had been dreaming about making my own songs and releasing my own music, and for some reason my fear always held me a little bit back. I didn't truly trust myself and believe in myself to be able to do it. So I recorded other people's music in Punjab. I had songwriters writing music for me, and I always released one of my own songs on each album, but never like a full album.
Mm.
So this was Love Is My Religion is my fifth solo album, and it started 3 years back. I went for a healing session with a girl here in Indianapolis who's called Kiran Lal. She is also called the Ambassador of Light. She
Oh.
is truly remarkable, and so I had this session with her, and she gave me the advice that when I write my songs, I mean, I should sit in the quiet hours in the evening. So I tried that out. I sat the day after my session with her. I sat down, I meditated, and then I just took she said, take a notebook and just write down whatever comes to you. And that's it. Just do that. So I took my notebook after the meditation, and then I wrote. I had no idea what I was going to write down, but something just came to me. So I wrote it down, and then I thought, okay, let me sing it, whatever that is. So I took my phone and then I sang the lyrics, and that was a complete song. And the day after, I did it again. And the third day after, I did the same thing, and a third song came to me. Then I got a little bit scared, and 1 month later, I tried again, and a whole song came again. So within 2 months, these 6 songs, they just came down to me, like literally. I always say
Downloaded.
that they're downloaded.
So was it the lyrics were coming, and then when you were reviewing them and recording them, you just came up with a melody, or?
Yeah, I just sang the melody, and I promise you, not a single note has been adjusted. It's
Wow.
literally just, I just sang the lyrics without having any idea before that. Oh no, I like this tune, or
You know what's funny? When I was listening to the first song on
Mhm.
the album,
Yeah.
I was, I could, I would like know when you were going to go up an or, like when, like I kind of knew the melody, like when you, I don't know how to describe it very well, but I was like, this must be the one that I watched of your video. I was like, no, I think
Mm.
that was Love Is My Religion. That's the one
Mm.
that was named off the title of the album. And I'm like, that's not what this is that I'm listening to. But I could know the flow as like right before you would go up a note, for example, I'd be like, oh, she's about like, I was like, or I would
Yeah.
know that you were going to repeat a line, or
Mm.
it flowed really naturally to where even though I was like, I must have heard this before because it's so natural and it's so, but there's something like maybe universal with it, or I don't know. It was so interesting because I was like, I'm sure I must have heard this before because I know like how this melody goes as I'm listening to it. And so it's interesting to hear you talk about the process because it's like, yeah, there's something like that the soul that resonates like right away with the soul with this
Yeah.
music.
It's a song, Follow Your Heart,
Yes,
the
yes,
first
yes.
song.
Yeah. So beautiful. I mean, what an amazing experience. So then you've got the lyrics, and then as you're recording into the like the very first time, it just the melody just comes with it.
Yeah, 100%.
And then you didn't change anything.
Nothing. Then I was like, okay, I've got it. My songs. I've got some songs. I've got lyrics. I've got the tunes, the compositions. But then I needed a producer to record the music, and I was going back and forth about who I should choose, and I ended up wanting to work with Jim Kimo West. He's a slack key guitarist, one of the greatest in the world in this. It's a way of playing the guitar, slack key guitarist. In Hawaii, that kind of the way they play their guitar. It's open string. They tune it with open strings or play with open strings or something. But
Hmm.
he plays in such a soulful way that I've always been a big fan of him. And he was nominated for Grammy some years back with his album Guitar Stories. And then with this album, I don't know if it was Guitar Stories. That was the first album I fell in love with for sure. And then we ended up recording these songs, and it was, he could just play that guitar so it fitted my tunes so well, and it was an amazing experience. And
Mm.
he's actually nominated for a Grammy, for his second Grammy now, with his album More Guitar Stories.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, you could check it out. It's very soothing, and he's really a genius. And so he produced it together with me, and we had a cello player playing, Simone Vitucci, and some Indian. There was one song, the title song called "Love Is My Religion," where I wanted to have a flavor of South Asia, or India in particular. So we had a tabla player and sarangi player, and then my producer from there, the guy who helped us from India recording it, he also played some tanpura and kora. So it has got a very nice, some different elements of the East, which I
Yeah.
wanted to be attached to that song, because it was so different from all the other songs that
It
came to me.
is. Yeah, it is. It is set apart, that one, you
Yeah.
know. So now, were you recording this in 2020?
Yes, most of it. We recorded all the vocals. My vocals was recorded in 2020, and his guitar we recorded in October 2019.
Okay.
And he started the producing, and then during COVID we recorded the Indian instrumentalists from Punjab, and I recorded my vocals here in Indianapolis in the Lodge Studios.
I
And
was
then
wondering if, yeah, I was wondering if it was all kind of because of COVID, if it had to be sort of, or would you have done it that way anyway, from different remote locations and put it together?
no,
You
no,
would have done it all together?
I like being with people, I
Yeah.
mean, in the same studio, but this was COVID that just, challenged us all. And I just
Yeah.
wanted the music to come out, because I feel where we all are right now, this soothing message about following your heart and let go of fear, that is something very important, um, that I think these songs could help people, you know, listen to their inner voice
Hmm.
and follow their heart in life.
Yeah.
So I really want, plus it was my dad's 70th birthday last year, in November. So I was aiming to have it finished for that as a tribute to him. He,
Oh.
he inspired me a lot with his voice, and he always played the guitar when I was a child and had his own band. And so
Uh,
it was like a tribute to him. I wanted to, you know, give him that gift of,
mm.
and recording it all in English so they could understand the songs and all that.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And that's one of the things too you kind of touched upon with these songs, and we talked a little bit about it at the beginning too, but the message that runs through everything is this love and this unity and this empowerment of, following your heart and listening to your soul and, overcoming fear. And you have the voice of an angel. I mean, really, it's so, so beautiful. The vocals are incredible. Um, but the combination of the beauty of your voice with the messaging is so powerful that I'm like, that it really allows somebody to, I know I mentioned this kind of over email with you, but it really does kind of allow people to lift up into a higher dimension. Again, like the way that the vocals carry the sound and the message, you can even bypass the language part. You can bypass the words of what you're saying to do that. But then when you add to it the power of the words that you've chosen and how universal they are and how important they are from a unity consciousness perspective, it's very powerful. So I
Thank
get a
you.
lot
Thank you.
out of it when I listen to it. It's really, really something very beautiful.
Thank you so much. There
as you
was,
would imagine if it's been downloaded. You know?
yeah, and also, to remember that, life is very precious. It's very short. We live and then we die. But if we put if we spread the message of love, and through whatever we're good at, we can make a positive difference into this world, and that will continue living. When we make a positive difference for other people, then that will be our legacy, you can say, or that can make a positive change, and that can never be taken away or
Right,
perish.
right. So true. And that's the theme of one of your songs as well, is that message of we're here and then we go, and it's kind of what you do with your now, right? Which is so important.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how about what's on the horizon for you? I know that you've just released this, so there's going to be, you're going to want to ride that out for a while, but are you still engaging with your creativity in the same way using meditation, or the aftermath of meditation?
Yes, I am in the process of recording some Sikh devotional songs,
Hmm.
and it's something I've been singing, these kind of Sikh devotional songs, for many many years. I also recorded an album with bhajans, which is Hindu devotional songs, but that last year during COVID, I started the recordings of the first two songs. And right now, I just had my team record some music videos in Punjab with these devotional
Wow.
songs. And it's going to be very, very soothing, and also with some beautiful messages, devotional. And so I'm in the process of that. And
Wow.
whenever I yeah, before I go on stage, or before I go to the studio, or before I do creative work, I always meditate a bit, and tune into my higher self, so I can hear my inner voice better and be 100% present and
Yeah.
in the now. So that helps me finding that stillness, and using my breathing and the yoga fixes my body so it's relaxed and in balance, and then the meditation helps me to really tune in and get into alignment.
Right.
So that is an important part of that process.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. One of the things that I'm exploring more and more with meditation is involving some sound. And it hasn't really been something that I embraced for a long time, because the method that I was taught was kind of like, you do it in silence, and any kind of external sounds can be distracting. So that was like the way that I did it for many years. And then I started kind of playing around more with adding music in, adding like solfeggio tones, or frequencies,
Mm.
in there. And the amplification that I have found, I don't use them all the time, because I do feel like then I might get numb to that, but because I do it infrequently, um, I do find it really adds something. So I'm wondering, with the devotional chants or the devotional music, if that's something that, because the love is my religion, I would say, I mean, the way that, like, I probably wouldn't use that in meditation per se. I feel like there's more of a conscious attunement to it.
Mm.
It's melodic, and um,
Mm.
but then maybe like devotional. So like I could use Krishna Das, for example, or Sanatam Kaur or something. Um, that's not typically, usually again, I go more into the harmonics, more of the solfeggio kind of frequency stuff in meditation. But do you think that the devotional ones would be things that people could meditate to, or maybe even like before meditation to sort of get you into that space?
Yes, one of the songs is called a Vaheguru Simran, and the only word I'm singing is Vaheguru,
Mm.
and uh, that is very, very meditational, and that is just used to meditate on God and oneness, and connecting yourself to the higher self. So that is perfect for that. And you'll probably hear Krishna Das and at least White Sun, that beautiful group who also won a Grammy some years back. They also do a lot of Vaheguru as well in their songs, but it's like chanting basically, and it's just one word. So that becomes your meditation. So the other ones there's a lot of words in the other one. So let's see. I mean, I think it helps put your mind into a meditational stage, the other Shabads, whereas the Vaheguru Simran is very suitable for the actual meditation.
Okay. Yeah. I have used chants, like chanting music, like pre-meditation, like as I'm kind of preparing to get into a meditative state, but using that music to really open the heart. Yes. And kind of get into that space and then go into silence. So that can be really valuable too. And I think even Love Is My Religion, you could do that with that too. I mean, it's so heart opening that it definitely, like I said, it can easily help you connect with a higher dimension, which is very good to do before you meditate, for sure.
Yeah, one of my friends, she's 25 years old, and she said this kind of music, especially like all the songs, but the first one she heard was Follow Your Heart, and she said that helped her connect to her deeper self, to her inner self, and she had never tried that before. So for her, it really worked as a kind of meditation, because she could just feel herself, and she felt her thoughts become calm, and she was less anxious. All these things that just calmed her down. And so it's nice to hear such feedback that but it's got very positive messages.
Absolutely. And it's interesting because earlier when we were chatting at the beginning of this, you mentioned that one of the things that had stopped you from recording more of your own music was that fear and that doubt. And some of your music in this album directly confronts that for the listener, like, overcome and don't listen to that, don't listen to the shadows. And I mean, I personally needed that message today when I was listening to it. I was like, yes, you're right. Don't listen to that. And, those doubts and that fear. And
we all have it, really. And it's just remembering that if we let go of the fear, everything is possible. It's just calming that voice and listening to that voice of love and positivity and inspiration, and let go of that fear, because it's not useful at all.
Right.
It's holding us back. You're holding yourself back.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it can be so convincing.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So this is like, again, that's what I love about this. It's the love and the unity and the empowerment. You bring all of that together, and it's very powerful. So beautiful tool for everybody to tap in and overcome, and use it as your sword of light. Beautiful. So in these times of COVID, I suppose you don't have any specific plans to get back to India anytime soon?
So I was in India last time in March,
Okay.
just
Oh,
before
right at the very
everything,
beginning.
the
Oh,
last day before everything locked down. I just happened to get home in time.
oh, wow.
So that was good, but I had my last tour then.
Mm.
Then I managed to go to Denmark to visit family in December and actually had two live performances, the
Did you?
first one since March.
Wow.
So for 15 people in the church. So that was really nice.
Yeah.
But yes, that was my first time performing live in all these months. And so I miss it. I miss it
Yeah.
truly, being
Yeah.
with, singing for people, interacting with people. That's one of the things I love the most in my
Yeah.
career.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll start emerging back into, more public life before we know it.
Yeah. So for now, I will just focus on recording some more music and music videos and putting out some good things that can inspire people to hold on to all the positive things.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, thank you so much, Anita. What a beautiful light you are in this world, and just I applaud and honor what you're bringing forth. Thank you for answering your call for for the light that you're spreading, and thanks for being with me here today.
Thank you so much, Kara. I really loved speaking with you.
Thank you. Okay, I'll close that out separately, but beautiful. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome. And you can just play whatever you want.
Okay.
But yeah, you could play some of the Follow Your Heart and The Love Is My Religion, if that suits.
I think that'll be beautiful. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we'll do that. Great. Well, thank you. I think this will probably come out in about a month or so. So I'll keep you
Okay,
posted. Got to edit it
absolutely.
and everything. So
Yeah. Which program do you use for the editing?
I use GarageBand.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah. Yeah.
On the computer, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty easy at this point. So,
Yeah.
and then
Do you yeah.
I use Libsyn as the platform to send it out to the different channels once it's ready.
Oh, how do you spell that? Maybe I should look into that because
It's for podcasting.
yeah.
It's Libsyn.
Libs.
YN. Yeah.
Libsyn. That's for podcast. Yeah, because you really have got it out many different places. So that's wonderful.
Yeah. So it just easily allows you to, it
Hmm.
just directs them into all the places. So
I love that.
yeah.
And the GarageBand. And when you record it, so you use Zoom,
Mm-hmm.
you send out the Zoom link, and then you have your external mic. I
Yeah.
just got an AVG, I think it's called, which
Okay.
should be very good for podcasts or
Yeah.
all the interviews, Zoom interviews, and
Yeah.
radio shows. So I'm
Right.
expecting that any day. So
Yeah.
that will be nice.
Yeah.
So do
Yeah.
you record a separate track or it goes directly into GarageBand when you do it?
I do one track for me in GarageBand and then
Yeah.
one Zoom track. And then I have another track just for the audio of the intro and outro music.
Of course. So from the Zoom track, you can take your guest.
Yeah, right.
So
So
you
that
clip
there are
it
two,
together?
well, they go simultaneously, but if like I have background noise while you're talking, I can delete the sound on my side so that it
Oh.
doesn't interrupt what they hear from you and vice versa.
In Zoom or in
Yeah. No, in
GarageBand?
GarageBand.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I
GarageBand is not recording the Zoom, right? I mean the
it's
guest
not
voice.
it is recording your voice. It's recording the audio.
All of it? Oh.
Yeah, I had to do some setup in the background, the MIDI.
Oh, okay.
in order to create a sound channel, I suppose,
Yeah,
sound
yeah,
channel that would be picked up there. So every time I unplug my mic, the settings, I lose the settings in GarageBand and in Zoom, and then I have to set them up again each time I plug my mic
yeah,
in. But I do have it easily where it's like, okay, so they're all linked together. Like the Zoom and the GarageBand sounds are linked together.
yeah, yeah,
And I'm always
yeah.
like fiddling around with it.
Of course, of course. No, I because I've started. I just took my first interview last a couple 2 weeks back, and I'm gonna take my second interview for my own radio show. So
Oh,
it's just very new, and I'm using the Zoom as well. And
yeah.
I realized my own sound when I used the external mic on the Mac.
Mhm.
I didn't like it. It was taking too much from the room.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
so hopefully this AVG,
I
the
bet
new mic will help with that.
yeah, I bet it will. Yeah, good. Good. Well, thank you again. So
Thank
happy to
you.
connect with you. And well, it's 2:22, so this is probably a good stopping point. The
How
angel
long
number.
was?
Oh, it was about 42 minutes.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then I'll add the
It's
music. So
2:22.
yeah,
Okay.
2:22 now, the angel number.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome.
Good. Well,
Okay.
thank you so much, Anita.
Thank you for having me as a guest, and let me know if you need anything else.
I will. I'll be using the photos and things that you sent, so
Sure,
it's
sure.
perfect. Okay,
Okay, good.
great. Thanks so much.
You too. Bye.
Bye.